So,
What?
But it's so much fun.
hello.
Being here.
It is. It's so much fun. You're right. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So excited to see you tonight.
פורים קטן שמח.
Meet my special guest. Specialist.
I don't know about that, but guess this my idea.
Yes. So in our weekly women's shear tonight, we have made it co-ed, as you can see. And we are going to have an open discussion. We're going to co-host a conversation on some topics that honestly, Moti and I have been wrestling through very much over the last few months with our own mashpia, our own personal mentor who lives in Israel. And he does a lot of work with Moti, who then translates it to me because he speaks mostly Hebrew. And so we consult with him a lot together, and then I'll say, Moti, ask him this, Moti, ask him this, Moti, ask him this. And so we get a lot of translation. But his work is so powerful that I wish that I could just submerge myself in his words all day, every day, to literally reprogram my thinking. You know, here in the Women's Shear over the last month, we were working on a 5-step, very practical process on how to transform negative thoughts or reprogram any type of thinking. And it's the exact pattern that we would use for even shifting the approach of what we're going to talk about tonight. The only thing is that this mashpia of ours, he does lots of talks, he does lots of recordings, he does lots of direct coaching with us, but it's all in Hebrew. So I can't listen to it over and over and over again to completely give myself a lobotomy with this way of thinking. So I selfishly asked Moti to come and join us tonight because I'm going to ask all the questions to Moti that we've been asking our mashpia over the last few months and have been slowly shifting our way of thinking. And so now it's going to be recorded in English. And then, selfishly, I will finally be able to listen to it again and again and again
So
and
it's
again.
all about you.
That's right. So, they always say that the best way to teach a new method or a new concept, the best way to learn it is to teach it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do together tonight. So it's going to be just a very open forum, open-ended conversation. And we are going to tackle 3 specific questions, but they each come with about 1,000 sub-questions each. Okay? So the first question is, why do bad things happen? The second question is, Numa, what about October 7th? And what is it telling us about the end times, about the end of days, about Geula? There's been so much talk about what prophecies are being unfolded, how it fits into the global timeline, the universal timeline. And we're going to dig into that a little bit. And then the last question, which is really where this is all pointing to, is when there is stuff happening in our own life, like when everything hits the fan, when we are experiencing trials or struggles or hardships or trauma or travesties of any type, how can we actually reframe this? Like, what's really happening behind the curtain, in the upper worlds? What's happening? And what message can we take from this that we can really sink our teeth into? Not just, the power of positive thinking. That's not what I'm talking about. Not just think good and it will be good. Not that, no, everything is from above. It's all for the good. Because that's true. But that's very far removed from affecting my mindset and my sanity and my soul and my peace and my calm on a daily basis. Do you agree? I can say, no, it's, think good, it will be good, everything is for the best, and I can still be miserable. I can still be suffering. So how can we interpret and understand what's happening in the upper worlds behind the curtain when we are experiencing things that we literally can hardly handle? And how can we understand what's happening there and reframe it to where we can actually experience peace, tranquility, and joy, even through the storm. Sound good? Should we start? You're up. I'm all done. My work here is done. Ready to go.
Which question first?
Okay, let's start with October 7th. Why not? Because talking about why bad things happen, why bad things happen is an introduction to a specific example of October 7th.
Well, the question why bad things happen is you're assuming that there is bad. That's the root of the answer. Okay, so we're told by our sages in the Torah school that God is a good God, is a merciful God. He doesn't do anything bad. So how does that coexist with all the negative things happen to our nation over the course of the exile, starting from going down to Egypt and having a horrible 210 years, which 86 years of them are completely atrocious, with October 7 every day. And how do we reconcile that with another 40 years in the desert, and then another wars and then the Israel tried to conquer Israel, and then afterwards when the first exile, the second exile, all the way to where we are today. So in the short answer, because it's a very long topic we can talk about for hours, but in the short answer, when you assume fundamentally that everything has to be good in a material way, and that's the best thing for me, right? When you assume that, therefore you can say that negative things are bad for me, and it's not fair. Then there is a problem. Okay? Then how God can do that? How can He do it to me? How can He do it to our nation? How can it be? Right? But if we really dig deep and understand the concept of living in this world, then it'll be easier for us to shift our mindset and to understand that actually good is bad and bad is good. It's the other way around. In other words, Hashem created the world, something from nothing, and He asked us to nullify the something and make it nothing. Again, Hashem created something from nothing, and He asked us to nullify the something and make it to nothing. In other words, Hashem created a material world from spiritual existence, and He's asking us to eliminate or to nullify the materiality in order to reveal spirituality. Right? Now, when we're looking at the root of our existence, when Adam Arishon was created, when Adam Arishon was created, when Chava was created, everything was perfect. There was no problem. The Shekhinah was in the world. The Holy Presence were in the world, and there was nothing negative. Everything was positive. Everything was great. And even it says that Adam and Chava were naked, and they were not ashamed from each other. They weren't embarrassed being naked. And what's the idea of that? Tells us is that only after they ate from the tree of knowledge, we're not supposed to eat, only then they went and looked for something to cover themselves. And then they became aware that they are naked. What's the problem with that? Well, did you ever see a cow running to find a dress because she's naked? No, why? Because it's comfortable being what it is. It doesn't have an issue with herself. Not aware of herself, doesn't have the idea of understanding that, oh, I am naked, they're not, this is maybe not appropriate, this is appropriate. There is no all this self-awareness. What happened with when we eat from Adam Arishon ate from Eitz Hadat, which by the way, it was
you have to speak in English, and you have people that are watching that don't understand the Hebrew terminology.
I'm saying,
so Adam Arishon and Eitz Hadat. So Adam, the first man, and the tree of knowledge. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. So Adam is the first man. Yeah, tree of knowledge. Yes. Okay. I said tree of knowledge. Anyway. So anyway, then what happened when Adam ate from a tree of knowledge is that up until that point, all the negativity was outside of us. Okay, it was there, it was created, but it was outside of us. When Adam ate from Eitz Hadat, from the tree of knowledge, he put it inside of him. Therefore, we all, because he's a general neshama, general soul, and we all were part, all the Jews for all generations were part of this soul, then we all are actually tainted with the same thing. So what ended up happening is that when they both ate from Etzadat, from true knowledge, now the neshama, the body, which are the vehicles for moving around in this world, okay, they were the vehicle. The soul, which is godly, a part of God, it's a literal part of God, right? The godly soul was supposed to use the body. The body was supposed to be the vehicle, the servant, and to give all the service of the neshama to the soul to operate in this world. And once that happened, the position switched. The body and the animalistic soul took the power from that spiritual action, from this. The Kabbalah explained the sparks that were in the tree of knowledge actually were absorbed within the man, Adam Arishon and the Chava. And then what ended up happening is that now it switched position. Now the neshama, the godly soul, became servant of the body and the animalistic soul. So it switched completely. And since then, we're busy, up until 1991, we're busy fixing this problem. Okay, in the Kabbalistic language, it's called to elevating the sparks. Elevating the sparks is we're busy to take sparks of godliness, of kedusha, of holiness, that are stuck within negative things in the world. So, for example, when we have an Nisayon, when we have a test, and something negative had happened, and we choose to see God in the whole event, and we choose to think positively about God, we are justifying God's action. We're looking for the reason behind it. We're trying to see the good, right? And we are just letting it go, and we're not being devastated by the event, because we just, like the Alter Rebbe says, how you pass any sign, you flick it with a flick of the wrist. It doesn't exist. Just move on. Turn the page. And if we're able to do that, we're actually elevating the spark. It was stuck in that negativity. Okay? In other words, if up until now, up until 1991, the avoda, the work was to say bracha on the cookie, to say bracha on water, and when doing that, you're elevating the sparks that were in it. In 1991, the Rebbe said that this avoda is over. We finished that part of the avoda.
The test,
of the work. Mm-hmm. The work of the test, the work.
work.
And now the only thing that's left is the work of the tests. So what is a test? A test is something that really, when we give a test to someone, okay, to a kid, so I'm saying, okay, he's a 5-year-old, I'm going to give him a test. It's a math test. I'm going to ask him 1 + 1, 2 + 2. Maybe he's more sophisticated. Maybe he's going to go 5 + 20, you know. Okay, great. When you test someone who's about to go to college, the question is going to be much more difficult. Okay, but even if we put a test together, we will never stretch every potential student to his utmost limits, because it's going to be one size fit all, which is actually doesn't exist, right? So you may be excellent in math, so it's like you're going to finish in 5 minutes. You're not, for example, and it's going to take you 2 hours. You're not going to get the answers right, and you're going to be somewhere in the middle. It's not going to be the same, because we're all created different, right? We all have bringing something very, very unique to this world, and we have to do our own personal work in order to complete the overall picture. So when God gives us a test, He knows where the threshold of our capacity. So He knows where the tipping point. So every time the test is coming, wherever, at a different level, in different times of our life, we're in different levels. So as I'm in this level over here, God is not going to give me a test. I need to be in this level. Why? Because it's like He's failing me on purpose. Okay? He knows what I'm capable of. So He's giving me only tests. That's where it comes to the sentence. God gives us only tests that we can handle. Why? Because once I pass the test, then I'm going up a level. I'm going up a level. Now I'm getting even a more difficult test. And another difficult test. And why is all those tests? Those are not because God doesn't know who we are. God knows who we are. God wants us, which is the being that we are, to understand how much power we have, and we actually eventually get to the point that we're limitless. Why we're limitless? Because we're part of God. And God is limitless, and therefore we're limitless. But because we start thinking for 5,751 years that we are limited, because I am my body and I am my animalistic soul, then I would never get to this thought that I'm limitless unless somebody is going to kick me out of my comfort zone. And to kick me out of my comfort zone, it cannot be something comfortable. It needs something uncomfortable. Right? Because the nature of the nefesh be'eri, on the animalistic soul, the nature of the body is to look to be comfortable. To look at yourself every day in your life, okay? You always choose the path of least resistance. Everybody, nobody's going to say, oh, I want to have a difficult on purpose. When do you do it, by the way? When you want to work out. Okay, so I'm going to purposely pick up heavy things. I started working hard very intensely this week, by the way. And it's painful. It's very painful. I asked Chagai to train me, and Chagai is aggressive, and he's not giving me any discounts. And I'm telling you, today I'm getting feeling better, but the first 2 days I couldn't move. And it was very painful, and you think like, why do I need that? It is very, very difficult. But just stick with me, keep going. 1 month you're going to be a different person, and you're going to feel like you cannot go without it. Okay, you're going to be addicted to it. So okay, I'm waiting for this month to be over so I can feel like that, right? And I'm sitting impatiently because I don't feel like him. So he already knows that he's already been there, and he's telling me that he's already been on this route, and he's excited, he's happy that they work out, and I'm suffering. Okay? So, how this example relates to what we're talking about. The negative thing that happens to us, this failure of Adam Arishon, the first Adam, when he ate from the tree of knowledge, it seems like he failed, but he didn't fail on his own. By the way, he didn't fail on his own. Even the Gemara says that. He could see from the beginning of the world to the end of the world. So you want to tell me you could not wait for 45 or 50 minutes until Shabbat starts, so not to eat from the tree? Really, it was such a high level. It's like the highest level. He was a supreme being. Okay? No flaws whatsoever. He couldn't wait another hour. Even more than that. Only after he ate from the tree of knowledge, then he started having the conflict. Should I do it? Should I not? Before that, he didn't have a conflict. He knew this is no. There wasn't a discussion between Adam and Chava every time they passed the tree of knowledge. Should we eat? What do you say? Yes? No. God said no. Let's not eat. There was not a question.
Like us and our chips and salsa?
Yeah, pretty much. You should not. You won't have a question. It's clear. You're not eating it. Why not eating it? Because God said so. And it's end of story. So what happened? That's why the snake had to come and convince Chava. And then she had to push Adam to eat. So the Torah says that Hashem tricked them on purpose. On purpose. Why on purpose? Because without them doing this, we would not have what we have today. What do we have today? Right? That conflict we have, that association, that identity, this false identity that we have developed while Adam Arishon and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge, that's what actually is helping us to reveal our true power. That conflict that we have constantly between the good inclination and the bad inclination, right? So we all have the same power. We have 10 power of the soul. We have 10 power. And those 10 powers of the soul, each one of them can be at service of the animalistic soul or the godly soul. We decide. That's our freedom of choice. I did not decide what power to be born with. I did not decide what body I'm going to have. I didn't decide any of these things. I agreed to it, my soul agreed to it before it came out in the world, yes, but I did not decide what it's going to be. And when I am in the body, I being the godly soul, and I'm confused and I think I am the body and I am the animalistic soul, so all my powers are towards what's comfortable for the body, what's comfortable for the animalistic soul. And the animalistic soul is pushing on me all the time to be very material, where the godly soul is sitting down quiet because it doesn't have any power. Nobody empower the godly soul to do what it's supposed to do. Now, if we would empower it, we'll see things are changing, right? You guys chose to be here today, you could be anywhere else. You listen to the shiur today, you could have been somewhere else. You don't have to listen to the shiur. But you chose to do it. So you chose to do something spiritual instead of doing something physical. Now, for your body and your mystic soul, probably would be better to watch, I don't know, a TV show you like, to go to a movie, to go to a bar, have a beer. I don't know, each one is what he likes to do. but you decide not to do it. You decide to go and do something spiritual. So when you do something spiritual, you actually take the same 10 powers of the soul and you're utilizing them for godly purpose. When you use them for godly purpose, what you're doing is you're actually bringing godliness to the world. Okay? Now, why is it all important? Without the negativity of, well, not negativity, without the existence, before negativity, without the existence of the animalistic soul and the body, we would not be able to be present in the world. We wouldn't be able to. That's what actually helps us to be present here. So when we are here, we have to work on ourselves to change the awareness that who I actually am. And once I change the awareness of who I am, then I can start living a godly life. Up until that time, I'm only living a materialistic life. And it's not who I am. Okay? So up until 1991, Tafshin Aleph, we could have not done this type of work. And I'm talking about right now. Why? The Alter Rebbe explained Netanya. Actually, this week we studied Netanya, the chapter 29, and the Rebbe explained in length why, when you were born a Benoni, intermediate, that's who you are. You're never going to change. You're a Benoni. A Benoni means that maybe, at best, you'll be able to overcome your evil inclination all the time. That's your pick. You're never going to become a tzaddik. You can't be a righteous person. A righteous person being a person who completely abolished the evil inclination from his own body and animalistic soul. So, what's the difference now? In 1991, when the Rebbe talked about the year that Melech HaMashiach, the King Mashiach, started operating in the world, and that everything has changed already, and we finished the avodah, the work of elevating those sparks we talked about earlier, and we are now at the same level spiritually, at the same level, back to the same level of first Adam before he ate from Etz Adam.
All of us?
All of us. No exception.
Woo!
That's right. That's the good news. Wait. Okay, it's the good news.
We don't feel it.
We don't feel it. You're right. Why we don't feel it? You're right. We don't feel it because we used to being a physical creature with physical existence, with my own fear and my own problems. So from being a kid, I'm dragging it all the way to being an adult. I'm not actually
all those old belief systems,
the belief system, everything you guys probably talking to Shiurim all the time.
About for 2 months.
All this picture. In Hebrew, המילה תמונה, okay? תמונה, okay? זה כמו אמונה, זה מגיע מאותו מקום, so it comes from the same place. תמונה is a picture, אמונה is faith. So my belief in the picture of who I am, this image I've created for myself. That's in my awareness is who I am. If you one time recorded yourself and listen to yourself like, this is not my voice, right? Happened? How come? It's the same voice. Why I don't think it's your voice? Everybody else will listen and say, yeah, it's your voice. What are you talking about? No, it's not how I hear myself. I hear myself differently. Why? Because me as a physical existence always adapt for myself all kind of understanding of who I am in order to survive. Okay? So I hear myself like this. I think I'm that good at this, that good at that. How many times you say, I'm very good at that, and your husband or your wife will tell you, what are you talking about? You're not. Like, yes, I am. No, you're not. What are you talking about? I'm telling you, you're not. Look at this and this and this. And you go like, yeah, you're right. I thought I'm good at it. Why? Because in our mind, we keep telling ourselves we are, because we want to believe in it. And again, the mechanism of the animalistic soul is to bring us to the path of this resistance. So I start believing I'm doing something I'm not really doing. And I start believing that I'm good when I'm not that good.
Or vice versa.
Or the other way around, right? And all this, why? So I can survive. It's a defense mechanism. Okay, so the animalistic soul has only one thing, and it's this world. It doesn't have anything else. It doesn't have next world. It doesn't have godly existence. It doesn't have any of this stuff. It wants the world, and it wants it now. Everything I can get. The more materiality, the better. Okay? So all your life, the nefesh, the animalistic soul is afraid because it's missing stuff. Oh, if I would have just another 100,000. If I would have, I got 100. Okay, if I have now 500. Well, I already used the 500. I've already got used to spending the $50,000 a month. But if I would only have $1 million a month, everything will be solved. Okay, same thing if I would just have another kid, if I would just have another wife, whatever it is, a house, all materialistic things.
Like salt
my
water.
dignity,
It's like salt water.
Salt
The
water.
more you drink, the more you
The
want.
more you want.
You're more thirsty all the time.
Exactly. And like the Gemara says, "Oef kesef lo yisba kesef." He who loves money will never have enough money. Why? Because you love it. Because if you're after your desires all the time, then you're never going to have enough of them. And it's like it says also, "En adam met v'chatzit avato beyado." A person is not living this world, and half of his desires are in his hands. Basically, he could not achieve not even half of his desires. Nobody can. Okay, so bottom line, waste of time if you have your desire. But the mystic soul is all it wants. It's all it knows. So because it's all it knows, it's only after it's living in the dread of not having what it needs in order to succeed for its way of thinking. Okay, so and after I achieve what my animalistic soul was so much after, I got my honor, I got my money, I got my whatever it is material I was chasing afterwards, then it's living in the fear of not losing it. Instead of protecting it. Protecting against the person, protecting that person, against the family, against it. They're just protecting. You're becoming like a
Scrooge.
Yeah.
So first
Like
you're
a-
stressed and miserable trying to get it.
And
And
then
then
you
you're stressed and miserable trying to keep it.
Keep it, yeah, not to
Yeah.
lose it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Bottom line, you're stressed and miserable all your life. Okay, then you wasted your life. So the shift of awareness we have to do is that first of all, I am godly creature. And now we can do it because like we said in 1991, the Rebbe said, now it's time, everybody can do it. How do I do it? I start using, first of all, we come to Shiur and we're listening to this thing. If we don't listen to this, if we don't keep listening to it every single day, like Kara said earlier, there's no way you can change your awareness. You can't. You can't. You know, there is a reason.
Because the darkness is too thick. The nonsense
Because
that we
yeah.
believe all the time.
The habits
Yeah.
the habits are there. We always
Our
go back to
identity.
our habits.
Yeah.
Right? Even look at something simple. You're talking about chips and salsa, whatever it is. You have a comfort food. Okay, it's your comfort food. A cake, a chocolate, whatever it is, everybody's something else. Okay? Immediately we feel stressed. So you feel uncomfortable. Immediately what you're looking, where is that chocolate? Where is that cake on it? Where is it? I need right away. I need a cup of wine, I need to drink something. I need this. It's whatever we train ourselves. And why is it? Remember, it is defense mechanism of the animalistic soul because it's afraid. It's dying of fear right now. And it has something to calm it down. Now, this is not something you're aware of when it's happening. You're just like, oh, I feel like having a chocolate. No, you don't feel like having a chocolate. You're in a great stress and fear. And the only way for an animalistic soul to handle it is eat some chocolate because it's comforting it, because it's something it's like, because everything else is happening right now makes it very uncomfortable, and it doesn't like to be uncomfortable. So we're going to look for comfort food. We're going to look for something else like watch a TV show, whatever it is. I don't know what's comforting you, but that's what we're looking for. So when we're aware of all those things,
Coping mechanisms.
coping mechanism, yes. When we're aware of all these things, then we can start looking at things differently. Okay, and the light of Mashiach is shining in the world right now, and we have in our power the ability to change our identity. How do we know it's true? Look at all the people right now, they're changing their identity. You got a 5-year-old who wants to be who was a boy, he wants to be a girl. You got his friend wants to be a cat. He wants to be, identify something else. Right? I want to identify something else. Where it's coming from. Suddenly people want to identify something else, but for the world exists for 5,784 years. And this, it's only started happening in the last 10 years, or 7 years maybe, more amplified. What, for the entire 5,775 years, nobody cared? Nobody wants to feel different? Nobody thought about maybe I'm going to wake up and become a cat? Think about how can anybody suddenly everybody wants to do it? So what's happening is that the light of Mashiach is shining stronger and stronger and stronger, and the same light shines on everyone. It's the same light. Think about how difficult it is for a man. He decides he wants to be a woman. Think about it for a second. The way you talk, the way you walk, the way you do your hair, the way you think, the way you do with your hands, the way you sit, eat, everything. In every movement that you do, you have to keep awareness. I'm not a man or woman. I'm not a man or woman. Think how crazy, how intense it is. Okay, after 5 years you get used to it. You train yourself to think differently. But think about in the very beginning, you have to be aware of every little thing that you do, every action has to be, it's not who I am, I'm something else. It's not who I am, I'm something else. So where does the power come from? The power comes from because it is shining right now in the world. And because it's shining in the world, come in. Because
Let's continue.
Because it's shining in the world, okay, then right now what we need to do, okay, is capitalize on it. So if we truly understand that my job, that my job is not to be my body, not to be identified as my, stop identifying myself as my body, stop identifying myself in my animalistic soul. And how do I do it? By thinking about every second of the day, everything I do. I'm not afraid. Start with this. Stop being afraid. I can stop being afraid because the thing I'm afraid of, that's not who I am. If I keep telling myself, well, I don't have enough money. I have everything I need. I'm godly. I'm not physical.
30. And I want to remind you, this is a 1 hour share.
I know.
Okay.
But I have to do this all
Okay.
without
Not
understanding
your
all
typical
this.
5 hour share.
Without understanding all
Okay.
this, you can't understand my answers. You're going to be like full of deaf ears.
Okay,
So-
just helping, just making sure we're on the same page.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, very helpful. So, it is truly very helpful. Thank you. So, when I am busy, right, being afraid, like we said, I need to understand this is not me who was afraid. Why is not me who was afraid? Can you imagine God being afraid?
No.
God can be afraid. Can God be sad? No. You gotta
They
be
say
angry?
he cries over the.
Yeah, it's not God.
That's all
Okay,
the
so fine.
Jewish
Yeah,
people.
so I don't want to get into so explanation about it, but there is levels. There's different level of God and God's revelation. The way God revealed this world, yeah, for that level there is sadness. For that level there is anger. For that level there is, but for God Himself, when it's above the world,
He's
there's
only
nothing.
love and
There's
yeah,
nothing.
light.
It's,
Yeah,
it's only
yeah,
goodness. There's nothing else.
yeah.
Okay, and He's not afraid of everything because He created everything. If He doesn't like something, He's going to change. מי אומר לו מה תעשה מה תפעל? Who can tell him what to do? כי הכל מעשה עליו, everything is his creation. So nobody can bother him. So if we are part of him, how come we are being afraid?
There is a separation.
There is no separation. We think there is separation.
Yeah.
Because the
We
truth,
act like it.
the truth, exactly. We act like we separate. Why? Because there's hiding and concealment of the body and our mystic soul on the God and the Shama. Because it's hiding it, it's creating confusion. So the Rebbe came to you and said, okay, 1991, which is 33 years ago, the Rebbe said, it's enough. We're done. We're not in that level anymore. We need to start thinking and wanting to be like that. So to your question, why I don't feel it, you don't want to. When you really, really want to feel it, you'll feel it. I'll ask you a question. When you went and did your Hinduism training, when you did mantra and you said hummed all day and did whatever it is, okay, you felt difference? You did, right? Exactly. You know why? Because you wanted to. Because you put time and energy into it. Put the same time and energy you put over there into here, you're going to feel that you're going to be the same change, even greater. Because right now, we're not limited by there was a cap. Okay, like the Rebbe explained, we said earlier, there was a cap. We could not have done this change we're talking about. We couldn't change who we are. If you have a godly soul, an animalistic soul, that really, really ingrained in this world, and you can't abolish it, you're stuck. Like I said, the most we can do is ignore it all the time and do good instead of doing bad, even though it's giving me bad ideas. But now we can actually get rid of it completely. How we can do it completely? It's not going away because we need it, otherwise we can't exist in the world. But we can take it and completely change its will into wanting to serve the godly soul. In the Kabbalistic and the Hasidic explanation is there is a queen and there is a maid. Okay, the queen is the godly soul, and the maid is the mystic soul. When Adam and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge, it switched position. The maid became queen, and the queen became maid. So for 5,751 years, we are stuck in that mode. Now the Rebbe says, okay, switch it around. You're actually a queen. I'm not the queen. What are you talking about? I'm a maid. I'm used to giving the nefesh b'hem and the mystic soul everything it wants. I'm giving it life. Think about this is absurd. The godly soul give life to the body in the mystic soul, and the mystic soul, the body works against the godly soul. The other episode, when you go and do avera, do something transgression against Hashem, it's like you taking the head of a king and you put it into a horrible place, into the toilet.
Yeah.
So, and yet it's still giving life to the body, even though the body works completely against godliness, which is actually the godly soul. So now the roles are changed back into their natural place, because the work of elevating the sparks is already over. Because of that, we can change. So the change that we're looking to do is to stop being afraid and to stop being worked up because of what's happening around us. Because who gets worked up about it? The godly soul. Why? Because it's afraid. So if my kids don't do what I ask him to do,
The animals one?
sorry, no, if if my kid doesn't do what I ask him to do, I'm afraid. He's not going to be okay. Something's going to happen to him. All negative. If my husband doesn't listen to me, I'm getting upset with him. If my wife doesn't listen to me, every time something happens that's not according to what I think, I being mistakenly the animalistic soul, I'm being afraid. Because I'm afraid to lose the status and go ahead. I'm afraid to lose what I think should happen. It's my opinion. Who is my opinion? It's not my opinion, because my opinion is God's opinion. Because I'm godly. Because I'm confused and I got used to, for 5,751 years, to think that my opinion is my body's opinion, my animalistic soul opinion. And then I'm thinking it is, oh my God, if something will happen. Where the fear comes from? You own the world. You own the world. We all own the world. How will we be afraid? How we think something not going to happen? So what happens is when we start thinking like this, now we're getting to the answer. When we start thinking like this, what's happening actually? We're creating it. Why are we creating it? Because think about it. We're godly. And when the animalistic soul is forcing you to think that something negative is going to happen, and in your mind there's the soul, which is a good part of God, what actually you're doing? You're forcing God to think it's going to happen, and it's happening. It will happen. So if we think good, what will happen? There's an old saying, think good, it will be good. Why think good, it will be good? It's not a mantra, like it's a cliche, like something. It's like, oh, think good, it will be good, just be positive. It's not about that. In the spiritual realm, what's happening is that when we're thinking with our mind good, the godly soul is in the mind, it's thinking good, then actually God is, we are godly. So with the power of God, we're bringing goodness to the world. If somebody sees someone that's acting negatively, you can fight with him. He can upset you, wherever you start fighting with him. Or you can be reserved and do nothing. Or you can start thinking good about this person. Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe somebody now just, cutting through in the on the road. Maybe instead of thinking about what happens to him, he changes. I've seen it happen. I mean, I remember to do it. By the way, I don't always remember to do it. If I always did, we would not be here today. But I'm not always remember to do it. But when I do remember to do it, I see a change. I think positively. I don't even have to say anything. I don't have to look at the person. You have to think positively about the person. If it's your kid, if it's your husband, if it's your neighbor, if it's whatever it is, you're changing the reality. The Bashut tells us, Dama lemala mimach. It says the Mishnah says Dama lemala mimach. You should know what's above you. That's the simple explanation of the pasuk. But it says Dama lemala, know what's above you. Kama mimach, from you. So everything that happens to us comes from above. Everything comes from above. Where it's coming from? From you. Why from you? Because you created. But in the same way that the person wants to walk, from heaven they help him to walk in that way. Why? Because he creates it. You make it happen. So if you know you have such a powerful mind, that only if you think positive, things will be positive. Isn't it just simple to say that every negative thought, I'm just going to switch and move to a positive thought? Right? So.
And how about the mind blower that the evil inclination doesn't even exist?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Yeah, that's the next thing. So, okay, Paul, we'll talk about it. So you can actually push away every negative thought, because when you're thinking good, you're changing the whole reality. Right? Not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid of anything. Not because I'm a hero. It's a contrary, because then you might jump from the thought. I think what happened to me. No, it's not about that.
So it's about collective consciousness.
Yes. And by the way, when one person does it, it's affecting everybody else, because we are all one entity, in a spiritual sense.
What you see outside, it's like a reflection.
Yes. What you see outside you don't like is because you have it inside of you.
Like
who has it inside of you? The nefesh be'emet, your animalistic soul has that thing inside of you. So when I see you, for example, acting in you're late to the shiur every time. No, you're not personally, but let's say you do. Okay? Another person is late all the time. Okay? I'm trying to think about why are you always late? I was here before. If I came on time and I have this problem, you should have come on time. You have no excuses in my subconscious. It's not even conscious thinking, right? So now I'm suddenly thinking negatively about you and not looking for a good reason for why you possibly were late. Make sense? Same thing.
Of course.
So, and that is because I have it in me. Or on the other hand, I have it in me, but I think I fixed that problem. Like we talked earlier. I have this imaginary thought that I am not like that. So I may be telling it to you or talk about you to somebody else of how come you dare to be late.
So we actually created this war?
The world?
Yeah, the war.
The war? Yeah. We created it. How do we create the war? By hating on each other for God knows how many years and how much damage we do to each other. And by creating and hating and wishing for people, they got the point wishing people to die. We're creating negativity in the world. We want our brother and sister to die. Do you understand what it means?
Yeah.
Now forget the reason. Forget the reason.
About the story of the Baal Shem Tov and the tearing them out the
Ah, yeah, it's a good one. So thank you for reminding me. So there is a story, the Baal Shem Tov, it's actually the Yom Yom. The story of the Baal Shem Tov that talks about there were a person in the shul that fight with another person. Two Jews fighting after the davening. And after they argue and they fight, then he said, one of them said, if I could do it without getting punishment, I will tear this guy like you tear up a fish. Okay, when he was very angry, we said that. So Baal Shem Tov, his face got very serious. He called the 10 students of his, he said, come here, put your hands on each other's shoulders. Right, they all stood in a circle. Say, close your eyes. And they start screaming. And why? They might be told the story.
His hands finished the circle.
So yeah, they all had to get hands, and he hands finished on each one of the students. Completed the circle. Thank you. And then they saw actually that in the spiritual level, this guy is really tearing the other guy like he's tearing a fish. It's really happening.
In the higher world.
In the higher world. So what we're saying and doing, we're actually creating. So now take all the negativity that happened in the land of Israel, okay, over the few years prior to this October 7th. So do you think we have something to do with it? The hatred towards each other. And how many things were said over there. And how do we know that this thing has to do with that actually? Because look at what happened after October 7th. The complete opposite. The etzem of the neshama, the essence of the soul of every Jew came out, and everybody became brothers and sisters again. To the point nobody cared anymore about the problem that was before, just 3 days before, 2 days before. They were to kill their other person doesn't agree with them, and now, no, we all one nation. Am Yisrael Chai. Shtabach Shemo. Thank God. Otherwise, if we don't stop like this, right, who knows what would happen for us? So now you ask me, why like that? Why to suffer so much? Why? I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not trying to justify any of that. But maybe, just maybe this is what we said. God giving us He only does what He absolutely has to do, right? And He's not doing the negativity. We're creating it. So we did so much evil. We created to ourselves so much evil at that level.
So
and God actually came and interfered and saved us and brought more mercy from the evil that could have happened that we have created to ourselves.
So the big geula is actually in our hands.
Absolutely.
And visualization.
It's not just visualization, it's actually changing. We need one person. One. We're talking about, so hopefully it's only both of you. Okay? Because I'm actually not doing it. So, with one person, that person is going to switch their identity and realize, I'm not my body anymore. I'm not my animalistic soul. These are just tools to serve me. I'm actually God in this world. Not because I think I'm God, because then I have to be hospitalized. It's not in that sense. It's that I think that I am, right? I am a body. I am an animalistic soul. But I am. But those tools are there to serve me, and I am actually godly, and everything I want is what God wants. So in other words, when something don't work right, it's not that it doesn't work right for me as an animal. It doesn't work for God. So I don't get upset why I don't have enough money, because I have money. I don't miss anything. I don't get upset why things don't work for me, because I'm not missing anything, because I have everything. There's nothing, and now is the answer for this whole long story is for the answer. There is no bad. Why there is no bad? Because the bad is for who? Only for the animalistic soul and the body. They're only feeling bad. They're the only one feeling bad.
Why are they feeling bad?
And the feeling bad is a defense mechanism, because if you put your hand into the fire and it didn't burn and it wasn't painful, what would you do? You would leave it there. Won't be good for you. You step on a nail. If it's not going to be painful and bleeding, you're not going to notice. You're going to have, if it's rusty, you're going to get infection. You can use a foot. Or you can even die from blood poisoning. So all that pain that we have in this world is actually to protect us. It's protecting us. If it wasn't painful, we wouldn't stop. When the person doesn't go to self-sabotage mode, it goes downhill, downhill, down. And it was very, very painful again and again and again. And he's doing so many things in his life, he's not going to change. Now, they're not doing it to him from above. He's doing it to himself. So imagine there's like a GPS, okay? And I have to go from here to a JCC. Okay, so the GPS tells me, okay, go over here, turn left on scores, like you want to straight, and it's right, you're on the right. And on scores, I'm turning right. So I'm turning left. So the GPS will calculate, so okay, now go on, turn shade, go up, I don't know, 64, 56, whatever, go up to Cactus, come back, go around. It's a big circle, right? It's annoying. But why is it annoying? You turn right. You could have been there in 1 minute, now you did a 7-minute trip. You'll get there, whether you like it or not. The question is how fast and with how much pain. So when you take the wrong turn, when you go work against what God tells you, this is the instruction on how to do it, you're just making a detour. And it's not comfortable.
Yeah,
it's
but you're
painful.
talking about things that we've done that are self-inflicted. What about things that we don't affect? What if you have
Everything
a child?
goes
What if you have a child that has cancer, hospital,
No.
or something that is not your? I didn't self-sabotage my kid with cancer. Hospital.
No.
So when you have these things that are happening
So
outside
that's
of you,
okay. That's outside
which
of
is
you.
a
Okay.
different flavor of bad.
Yes, but that okay, those
So
things
how
happening.
do I reconcile that in my mind?
So that is the thing, is that when you look at something negative outside of you, seemingly you don't have anything to do with it. Okay? So first of all, you do. If only this lifetime, previous lifetime. Okay? So we always have something to do with it. There's no random thing that's happening. So even if Chaz
And
v'Shalom I have
whatever
a
it is,
kid,
we agreed to it, to the mission.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the neshama came down this world. Before it came on this world, he knew exactly what his job until the end of generation. How many reincarnations, everything, he knew everything.
Including the kidnapped?
Including everything. Everything. It knew what's going to happen. And it agreed to it. So there is a body, okay, that of a man or woman or family that's supposed to give birth to a challenged kid. In one way or another, Chaz v'Shalom, not to wish to anybody over here. He's going to be only a good nisayon, not negative one.
Amen.
But if Chaz v'Shalom that his family has this nisayon, there are the souls that are able to make it through this test. And they're doing it for the collective us as a nation. And we, in return, doing it for the whole world. So when the person is able to deal with this nisayon, with this test of having such a challenged life because of a problem with the kid, he has a mission. My mission is not to make this kid okay. My mission is not to sit over there and agonizing about why me. Who asked why me is when I'm thinking like the animalistic soul. When I think like God is soul, I chose to be here. I chose to come and fix it, and I chose to help this kid because I'm doing kindness, and this is the kindness of God. That's a person who receives this kind of kid is capable of so much kindness than anybody else you can imagine. And all they have to do is just to reveal that power. So when they're revealing the power and they're doing it, and they're actually doing the kindness they have to do with that neshama, with that soul, they're actually elevating all of us as a nation and the whole world right after. So instead of saying why, but we are not people, the Jews don't say why. Say Ashrei Am Shekacha, they say because. Why? Because Hashem wants it. And we do the will of Hashem. So Hashem wants something negative to happen because we have to elevate the negative. How do we elevate the negative? By saying that the negative is actually positive. We're changing the thought. Why it's positive? Because it's there to reveal my power. It's there to reveal my power. It's not for anything else. It's revealing my power. My power, not my physical power. My spiritual powers that I have, that God gave me.
And
so
only
by
my
going,
animal soul is interpreting it as negative.
as negative, exactly. So when my animal soul, again, is afraid, what they're going to think about me. I'm going with a kid like his house in the street. They look like a bad mother. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's something wrong, deserve it. You know, why? Who's asking all these things? It's their wrong identity. That's not who I am. Who I am is godly. And God needs this correction. And by us, and this is the key, by us looking at the negative, and we are discovering by our thoughts and by our minds and by our awareness, we're saying that this is actual goodness. Why is goodness? Because there's no negative come from above. And this is just a test for me to pass. And by me passing the test, I'm elevating everybody else. Right? Then I'm able to overcome it. Why? Not because I'm so special. It's because the test served its purpose. And now it's gone. I revealed the godly light in the imaginary evil. It's imaginary evil. Our existence is not temporary. Our existence is eternal because we're part of God. So they're all temporary phase I'm in, 120 years in this world. That's not who I am. This is just a tool for me to reveal godliness in the world. So I'm using this tool. I'm using his body. I'm using an animalistic soul in order to look at things differently. And I'm shifting the awareness. And how can I do it? Because the light is right now in this world. That's why a guy can become a woman. Why a woman can become a guy. They use the same power. And they're very good at it. Some people can't even tell the difference. You can't tell the difference because it's so good. Because it's possible. So all we have to do
the power of transformation.
The power of transformation, yeah. We have to transform our awareness from I'm not a body, I'm not a mystic soul, I'm godly. And godly means, now we're to understand what godly means, we have to study a little bit more. Understand how God acts and think and from what we know in our limited mind, because we can't really understand God. But by saying two very, very important things. Number one, there's no evil come from above. Period, end of story. And if I see it evil, who's the evil? It's a very simple equation. If I see evil, that's my limited understanding, viewpoint of my animalistic soul. That's it, period, end of story. If I chose to see good in it, but how can I see good? They killed the kid. They burn him in the oven. I can't see good in that. That's not good. Somebody tell you it's good, he needs to be hospitalized. It's not a good thing. But I'm not thinking about what happened in that particular moment that is good or not good. I'm looking at the overall picture. Because if you're going to go into a picture, if you go to take the Mona Lisa in the Louvre Museum and you're going to go stand very close, it's not a good picture. In fact, you have to stand in a distance. They show you how far to stand back, so you can actually see it in its best vision, right? So, but if you're going to get very close, it's actually falling apart. You wouldn't pay $2 for it. Right? But you step outside, oh, it looks great. And you can look from this angle and that angle, and she can look at you, and she look at this, and everything's great. Okay, so when we are trying to depict what God is doing, one particular thing is not going to work for us. Because we're limited. We don't understand the whole picture. We can't. So what we need to do is we need to actually change the awareness, decide to believe, and this is the emunah. The emunah is above sechel. Emunah it's the highest level. Okay?
Sechel means
your brain. So emunah, faith, is above your understanding, your common sense. You can't understand God with common sense. You can't. You can't understand God with your brain. Why? Because God is unlimited and you're limited. How can you understand it? You can't. But what can I do? I can have faith. Faith is above your brain. And with the emunah, with the faith, I can make it change everything. I can choose to believe that God is great. But it's horrible. But God is great. But you're sick. Maybe I'm sick, but you know what? How much do you think God is great and being miserable and crying and die from sadness? You can choose. Whatever you want. So that's how we look at things different. So how we look at our October 7th or everything negative, we don't justify it. It's not good. Right? Could have been 20 million other way to do it. But everything is happening in the world has a reason. Sometimes we understand, sometimes we don't understand. And like we can't understand the Holocaust. We can't understand those things. We can't. We're not trying to understand them. What we're trying to do is what good's going to come out of it.
Like יתרון האור מהחושך.
Yes, the advantage of light from darkness necessarily. So if you take a candle and you put it outside in the middle of the day, it makes no light, but it's still shining. But if you put it inside a dark room, at the same time of the day, it's gonna do its job. And suddenly you see beautiful light. Okay, so sometimes you have to take away light so other light can shine. So it looks negative, it looks like it's evil, it looks like it's bad. Okay, but we can choose how to see it. And you know how we see it? Look at all the people, okay? The Chas v'Shalom won't happen to anybody anymore ever again. That actually had to suffer through those bad events, and how they're suddenly they're developing powers that you don't even understand how could they behave like this? Where did you come up with? Who gave you the power to even think like this? You lost a kid, you lost this, and you still have power to get up in the morning and to do what you're supposed to be doing and go and tell people, inspire other people. Despite everything that's happened to you. Where it's coming from? That's a godly power. That's not the human power. Human power cannot see this thing and stand. You crumble. You can't do this and you can't function. If something like this happened to you, you can't. If you think you can function as a human, you're wrong. You can't. You're losing it completely. The only way you can function is if you actually reveal your godly power. And that's why it's there to do. For us to actually reveal the godly power and for us to understand that everything that's negative is happening. It's like we said earlier, like we go to the gym, it's actually to train the neshama, to train the soul to get to the next level. And the next level gets stronger and stronger and stronger and reveal really the highest level of existence in this world. And there was 2 questions. What the third one was?
Hang on a second. Let's summarize. Let's
Yeah, but just to answer the third question.
The third question is, how do you explain what's happening behind the curtain when you are experiencing bad? Like, what's actually happening in the upper world? So
just one more, it's very important, I have to say that. So, and then we can summarize in 2 more minutes. So, what's happening in the upper world? God, everything gets revealed here is what we can accept. Okay? Anything above that we can't accept. So when there is good coming from above, from a world that is above the world, okay? There's many worlds that we don't even know about. So when it comes from a hidden world, from a hidden place, it's coming here and it's revealed in a negative way. It cannot be revealed in a good way. It can't be, because it can't be revealed. If it be revealed, if it could have been revealed, it would have been revealed, but it can't be. It's coming from a hidden world. So it says that the people that are happy with their pain, they're happy with their tortures, they're tzaddikim. What is tzaddikim? Why is tzaddik happy with the tortures? Because the tzaddik understands that it's coming from an elevated world. It can't be revealed over here. And the negativity, it's coming in a negative way because it's the only way it can be here. Because it's a physical world. It cannot contain that light. So when it comes to negative and you say, you know what, God, I know this is all actually because you love me. That's actually love coming from a much higher place. Yeah, it's coming in a negative way. I don't understand that. Why it's not working for me? I don't understand why I'm doing the right thing and it's not working. I'm doing what my Rebbe tells me to do and I fail. How can it be? Because you love me. I'm failing because you love me. And when you do that, and the Rebbe tells us, and he tells the secret, when you discover and the negativity is actually elevated light that cannot be enclosed in this world, you fix the problem. That's it, it's gone. It becomes now revealed good. You're discovering the hidden light in the imaginary evil. It's imaginary evil, it's not real evil. It's imaginary because it's actually good. So when we do that, we're actually able to do this thing. This is happening in the spiritual level, and our job is to discover it. Discovering by choosing to say, this is actually a love, an action of love from God. And Chaya asked me one day, so why God to love me has to punch me in the face? Right? It's a good question. Well, because if God did not punch you in the face, you would continue doing what you're doing. that means it hates you. So in order to wake you up and to move you from where you're doing what you're doing, you have to punch you in the face. Otherwise you keep with the same track. You're not going to change. What do we say? We're choosing the path of least resistance. We're not going to change. We're going to be who we are. Because we're comfortable. So what do I have to do? I have to get uncomfortable. So if I cannot do it myself, God's going to do it for me. Because He loves me. And my job is to reveal it. When I discover it, and when I discover it and revealing it, then it served its purpose. It doesn't need to be there anymore.
That was a good start.
Okay. It's hard. It's hard to condense in 1 hour. You know, it's
That's
I did my best.
profound, yeah. That's
Yes.
profound.
So I think this is going to have to be a to be continued conversation.
Yeah, because we need to do is we have to ask question
Yes.
and answer. It
Yep.
have to be Q&A to address it.
So it was a good way to rip off the Band-Aid and expose all the wounds because it really is a mind bender. The things that we're talking about and how, okay, so we're zooming out and okay, so the only way I can process what's happening is if I can see what my neshama says and what my soul says and all these lives that I have and my animal souls and then fight with my godly soul and I have to believe the bad is the good and the good is the bad and the hidden lights are coming down and then I get punched in the face and everything's good. Right? Perfect. Summed it up. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's so much to unpack with everything that's said here. And like I said, Moti and I have been like wrestling with this for months and months and months to understand.
Years.
No, this particular thing specifically understanding the why the extreme goodness from above has to come packaged with challenges and hardships and trauma. So that's where we'll start next week. Okay? So there's so many layers. We can go back to October 7th. We can go back to why bad things happen. But to really understand this means that we have to zoom out. If we're looking so small, just at the one thing right now, we can't understand it. There's no way we could ever understand it. But when we know that we are part of something so much bigger, that's where the emunah and the bitachon and the peace and the tranquility begin to come in. But it is a gift to us that we have been given that we actually can start to understand it and piece it together. And even more than understand it, we can realize what's our place. What power do we have and why are we here right now because of all of these things to fulfill our godly purpose in these final stages of bringing the gula, right?
Yeah.
So, same bat time, same bat channel,
yes.
next week.
Yes, and the reason we're doing it because, and the Rebbe said, if we want what we build the redemption, is one person to actually get it.
Yeah.
And get it done.
Yeah.
So the more we talk about it, the more likely we
That's
are
it.
as a whole
That's
to
it.
get there.
Amen.
Bye,
Thank you,
Mohammed.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.